Welcome, friends. Welcome back to the kitchen. We are making a carrot cake today. I know there's only a little bit of butter and an empty bowl on the countertop. I'm starting out with some butter. I'm going to brown it, and then I need to put it in that bowl, stick it in the fridge, and let it solidify again before we get to the part where I make the frosting or the icing at the end. So it's just easier to start this now to make sure that it is solid when I need it later. So butter, pot, medium-high heat. We've done this a few times. Brown butter is about being diligent, watching, carefully, monitoring. Brown butter is about using your sight and your hearing and your smell, using all of your senses. So, dead simple. We're going to melt all of this butter. The butter is going to come to a boil. It's going to foam up. It's going to be loud. What's happening is all of the water that's in the butter is boiling off. And while the water is boiling off, the butter is not going to burn or brown because the water is keeping the temperature below the smoke point of the butter. But as soon as the water boils off, it gets silent because there's no more water boiling off. So it gets silent. And as soon as it gets silent, you're going to see that it stops foaming, although there'll still be foam on top. And you're going to smell that it goes from a butter smell to a nutty smell. You know it's done. So keep your wits about you. It's really simple. People make it into something that's more than it isn't. Don't worry about it. If I can do it, you can do it. Okay, so first up. You can hear it. You can hear it bubbling away. You can see the steam coming off. The water is being boiled out of the fat. It's starting to get quiet. All right, it's starting to get quiet, and you can just start to see the color changing. It's just getting a little bit brown. There's still some water coming out. There. It's quiet, and it's brown, off the heat. Okay, so it's much better to pull it from the heat early than to leave it on and say, is it done? Is it done? Is it done? Get some of the flavor, the brown flavor, if you're unsure, because if you leave it too long, it's going to burn. And burnt butter's bitter, and you don't want burnt butter. So into the jug. See how brown that is? I try to get it out of the pan as quickly as possible too, because the pan holds residual heat. And, you know, it can continue cooking the butter for quite some time, even after you remove it from the element. I'm not going to need this for a couple of hours, so into the fridge. Okay, a lot more stuff on the counter now as we get into the cake. Carrot cakes are kind of interesting to me. I always clump them together, classify them with fruit cakes. Just, you know, instead of adding in candied fruit or dried fruit, you're putting in carrot. And it's one of those recipes that I always mean to go and do a full deep dive into the recipe collection, into the cookbook collection, and see how they were handled in the 17 and 1800s. They don't seem to really jump out at me until after the 1920s. Well, there's a task to do some research. So we're going to get into the cake. We're going to start out, it's a cake. Guess what we're going to do? Cream some butter. So into the stand mixer goes the butter. While that softens up, we'll deal with the dry ingredients. So I've got flour, baking soda, baking powder, salt, cinnamon, clove, and some nutmeg. Okay, the butter looks like it's getting soft, so regular old white sugar, that goes in. I will sometimes make a carrot cake, split it half white, half brown sugar. Totally up to you. Easy to do, and I just swap them one for one. I don't go through any sort of mental calculations, gymnastics, jumping through hoops, trying to figure out relative sweetness between brown sugar and white sugar. I just do a 1-for-1. If I take out half the white sugar, I replace it 1-to-1 with brown sugar. That's just how I bake. And it always works out. So, the butter's looking good. I've got 4 eggs. I'm going to put them in one at a time. Let it fully mix in, and then mix in the next one. Before I put in the last egg, I've got some vanilla. So we'll pour in the vanilla. And then crack in our last egg. I'll probably scrape down the bowl another time, and then I will whip this until it's really light and fluffy. Okay, now spoon in some of the flour mixture, maybe 3 spoonfuls, maybe 4. That first one mixes in pretty quick. This is crushed pineapple. Put in a couple of crushed pineapple, maybe 3. And our shredded carrot. I'm going to do the same thing. Maybe 3 spoonfuls of shredded carrot. And I will just go back and forth between these 3 ingredients until they're all incorporated. And before I put in the last of the flour, I've got chopped pecans. I'll stick them in now. And then put in the rest of the flour. 2 greased cake tins with a parchment disc in the bottom, ready to go. And we'll transfer our cake batter into the tins. I'm doing this in 2 tins. If you wanted to, you could do it in 3 or 4 and really have a lot of layers and a lot of icing in between the layers. Totally up to you. Completely up to you. Do it in a square cake tin. If that's your thing, you want a square, do it in a square. It's totally up to you. All you have to do is just monitor your bake time. It's going to be a little bit different than mine if you do different tins. It's going to be a little bit different than mine anyway because you have a different oven. And that always changes the bake time. So anytime you see a bake time in a recipe, it's guideline only. It really is up to you to know your kitchen and also your bakeware. You may have different bakeware than I'm using, right? Maybe a different thickness, maybe not made out of aluminum like mine are. Well, that's pretty good. And so you're always going to have to alter it. You're always going to have to pay attention until you totally dial yourself in the kitchen. And then it'll just be second nature. You won't even think about it. The oven is preheated at 350 and away we go. I'm going to come back at about the 30 to 35 minute mark and check them and decide how much longer. Okay, the cake is cooling on a rack, so we're going to make the frosting, and it is a browned butter and cream cheese frosting. So brown butter is in this bowl. I took it out of the fridge, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes ago as I was setting up, just so it's not hard, but you know, it is hard. And we're going to turn the mixer on and start to sort of cream that. It's taken a little bit. I've had to scrape down the sides a couple of times, but I think we're at the point where I can start adding in the icing sugar. Yeah, I think we can put the icing sugar in now. A little bit at a time, because it will, if the beater's going too fast and you put too much in, you know what happens. You get sugar all over the kitchen. Nobody wants that. I'm also going to add in some salt at this point. So I've got about half of the sugar in at this point, and I'm going to put in some whipping cream. couple tablespoons. And then go back to the icing sugar. A little bit of vanilla too. And then the rest of the sugar. Now, I've got a block of cream cheese, and I've just cut it into bite-sized chunks, and I'm just going to drop those in one at a time. Don't overwhelm the mixture. Let it beat in as much as it can, and then throw in the next one. And I just do this until all the cream cheese is beat in, and the frosting is whipped up. And then I'll stick it in the fridge for, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes, just to harden up a little bit before we frost the cake. If you are new here and you're looking for tips on icing cakes, you're not going to get them. I absolutely hate icing cakes. And yet, strangely, this is the second one I've done in 2026. I don't think I did any iced cakes in 2025. And if I did, I've blocked them out of my brain because I absolutely hate doing this. So I'm going to start out. I'm going to show you a little bit, and then we're going to cut to the actual thing, which is tasting. Huh, I wonder what kind of plane that is. It's a twin. It sounds like a radial.
Hey, Glenn.
Hey, Jules.
Hey, friends. It is time for cake.
Carrot cake. Carrot cake with a browned butter cream cheese icing. Oh, looks moist.
I'm just going to have some of that icing.
That's good.
The brown butter actually adds a nice little brown butterness to it. I don't know what else to say.
That's good.
That's a big piece.
The pineapple brings a lot of the moisture to this to keep it really nice. It brings a little bit of flavor too, which is great. Huh.
Meets Glenn's approval.
Very much so. And I must say, another fantastic frosting job.
You're getting better.
Oh, I don't think I am. I really don't. I don't aspire to, and so I guess that's part of it. Just get the frosting on the outside because you're just going to eat it. But I don't think I'd present that in the...
Any kind of bake off?
No. Okay, so carrot
All
cake.
fair.
Really easy. Really tasty. Thanks for stopping by. See you again soon.